The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Cristina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 224. I'm Joseph Cristina here with my co-host Trevor Current. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey, I am doing well. How's it going with you?
Very good, very good. Big week this week, right?
Yeah, big week. We got the big Apple event that happened today, September 7th, and I guess that was kind of the key date. They wanted to go with the 7 for the anticipated iPhone 7 announcement. So, yeah, that was exciting stuff coming out of that event, and that is what this show is going to be all about.
Yes. Kind of boil it down for you guys about all the new kind of Apple products, but also with a little bit of a focus on photography, right? Because that's what we do. So
yeah.
we do photo and tech, but we'll kind of boil it down on the photo side as much as possible, but we have to cover the rest of the stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the event kind of started off pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of the Late Show with James Corden, then you probably know about his carpool karaoke bit that he does. I mean, even if you don't watch the show, you've probably seen them posted on Facebook and stuff. They're all over the place.
Right.
So the event started out with Tim Cook in the car with James, and they're singing along, and then all of a sudden Pharrell Williams jumps in the back seat, and then they all start singing and stuff. And James like, so what are you wearing to the event? And Tim's like, oh, I think I'm just going to wear this, and he's got like a blue shirt on and stuff. And then it basically cuts and you see him get out of the car, and then all of a sudden he runs into the hall up on stage. Everybody's clapping, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it was good.
That's how they start.
Yeah, it was a good bit. I really like that carpool karaoke stuff.
It's funny. It is definitely funny. He's good. He's definitely good.
Yeah, I like him.
So to kind of start off with the Apple event, they jumped into music, and we know that music is just very big for Apple.
Yeah.
They're talking
Huge.
about 17 million subscribers and 30 million songs. Everything's million.
Yeah.
Right? 30 million songs that you can download and whatnot. I mean, they were the beginning of MP3s. I mean, they were what brought MP3s out of the gutter, so to speak, where, it was all let's say pirated MP3s. They made it affordable for everyone, and they brought the record companies on board.
Right.
So, they did it well. And I foresee they can do the same thing with video if they want to. And but that's yet to be seen. But it could definitely happen.
Yeah. The next big thing that they went into was the App Store. So for the most part, 140 billion, downloads and all that good stuff. I mean, it's the
Crazy.
normal growth that you hear about all the time, and the increase of apps. What's interesting though, what's not really interesting, I guess you could kind of guess this, but 500,000 apps that are in there are games. And what is really interesting, and what I know, Joe, you and I got most excited about, I think, was Nintendo is bringing freaking Super Mario Run to iOS now.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that is
pretty
huge.
Big. Yeah, that's pretty big. They did not say how much it would be. So anyways, guys, it'll be Super Mario Run would be one of them.
Right.
And this looks like more of like this, tappy, tap, tap, tap. You could do it with one hand and eat a hamburger is what they were joking about.
Right.
With the other hand, which is just cool. But then they also have another one, I think it's called Mushroom Kingdom. Right. And that feels more in depth, a little bit more deep, more of, a Clash of Clans or a Clash Royale or something like this, where there's more to it. And it's going to be a lot of, participation, maybe clans type thing, something. And it looks like it's definitely well fleshed out. So that's going to be Mushroom Kingdom. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, just getting Nintendo on the platform. I mean, obviously whenever you write an app, you write it for iOS first, because that's where the majority of the populace is.
Right.
And then you move it into Android. So it's not strange that they would do it. But what's strange is that Nintendo actually went and put it onto an Apple in comparison to, their platform, their,
just
their
keeping it
product
on their
line.
proprietary devices.
Yeah, because they've always been very, very hush-hush with their stuff when stuff is released. I mean, Super Mario is like the national figure, he's like the main dude, and so it was very cool. I really like it. But from there, they went into education. We know Apple is all about the education. They have been when they when they first started, right? Apple was all about education and getting as many apples into the classroom as possible. And they're doing the exact same thing. They're making huge donations. But we know, Trev, these huge donations are basically tax write-offs. And as you get closer and closer to tax day, they're going to give and give and give more and more and more based on what their revenue model looks like.
It's really great that they are donating equipment to school systems in need that really need it and stuff. But you're right. I mean, I would like to say it's out of the kindness of their heart, but there's obviously business benefits to doing it as well. What's interesting though, they're donating all these iPads and stuff, and the idea being is that now you get your textbooks and everything on iPads, and I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, I look at what my little kids bring home in their backpacks, and it's ridiculous the amount of books and the weight of those things. Yeah,
and just think about my daughter in college. You're talking about thick books, and being able to just buy, or let's say rent on a Kindle, let's say, or even on your iPad, a book that you're just going to hand it in, which is basically delete it off your device after 3 or 4 months. I mean, that's stellar. No one wants these big books anyways. Yeah. Number 2, you can search, and search is huge, guys, right? Search is huge. If you're working on, let's say, sociology, psychology, and you want to know what a certain problem is or whatever, you can search for it and find it in the book, whereas normally we'd be sitting there in the table of contents or in the back trying to figure out what page they even referenced, this stuff, and you can never find it. It's just a pain. This is so much quicker.
It's a lot more efficient, and I like it. It's interesting too. My daughter just told me that their school is now rolling out Chromebooks. So each of her class members are going to actually get assigned their own Chromebook. They're not going to bring it home. It's only going to be for in-school usage, but it will be assigned to them, and they can use it for all their classes and stuff. So they're going the Google Docs route with that, which I think is a good solution. But the Apple solution of iWork is actually pretty interesting now. iWork is I mean, it's big among Apple people, but realistically, Microsoft Office is still the big number one when it comes to productivity. But what I like about iWork is they just created this real-time collaboration that they're rolling into their products, and
that's something that we could use, right? We could use
I mean, right now we use a Google Doc when we do our show, and Joe can type live on his end, and I can see him type, and I can do the same, and it's good for that real-time collaboration. We like it. But you are limited to it being Google. Now, iWork gives you a comparable product now through their system, and since we're both Apple guys anyway, we could roll this out. They gave a really nice demo of it using Keynote, and had different people from around the world dumping in their notes and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden this they play it and this beautiful thing pops up on the screen. I mean that was probably kind of pre-built into the presentation anyway.
Your miles may vary, but the whole idea is being able to collaborate not only through words, but to be able to drag and drop video, drag and drop audio files, drag and drop photos, and be able to truly collaborate on a multimedia type of level, this hybrid type of level. That is just, that is really pretty big. So we'll see how it works, and we'll kind of report back to you guys, because it's definitely something that Trevor and myself will be looking into, because that just sounds cool for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So Trev, I'm a runner, right? I love running. I used to run cross country back in high school. Did a lot of track and field stuff, and I enjoy it. And Apple came out with their new watch, the Series 2, as they call it, and it looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, when they first came out with the Apple Watch, of course we reported on it, and Joe and I, we both thought it was cool. but not really one of these necessities, you know?
Neither of us bought one.
No,
right?
neither of us bought one. I mean, and I just looked at it and said, well, I mean, yeah, it's a nice gadget device if you have, you know, a couple hundred or a couple thousand, $17,000 burning a hole in your pocket if you want to make a technology fashion statement. But for me, that was really about it. And we both said that, you know, within the next year plus, they're going to be rolling out such better technology into these things that people that bought the first gens are going to be kicking themselves in the butt. And I really think that is the case with this series too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, they
Hands
showed
down.
some stats on screen and they say that the Apple Watch right now is the second watch brand in the world next to Rolex. And it's the number
it's
one
crazy.
smartwatch.
And that's like after 8 months or something.
Right, right.
It's so stupid. You know?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this looks really nice. What they did do is they really made a runner-focused watch.
Yep.
And also a swimmer-focused watch. Now the watch itself has the technology in it and all of the gaskets that needs to be in there to actually dive up to like 150 feet or it's 50 meters.
Yeah,
or
50 meter water
translates
resistance. Yep.
So that's really, really good because you don't have to worry about taking it off in the shower. You can actually go swim with it. That means that the programmers that are doing these apps for it can actually now use the technology for swimming also. The data is just better that way that you don't have to take it off. You can literally leave it on. And the watch, you know, OS 3 is really robust. I mean, they're talking the CPU in there, you're talking double the speed and the GPU also double the speed at like 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
We have a hard time getting, you know, Canon to do 60 frames per second on 4K, you know? So
I know, right?
But so, it's really interesting. And they threw GPS in there also. So now we can actually do, you know, what a Garmin would do or another type of runner's watch. So I'm really excited about
well,
this.
that was one of
cool
the
stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the big things that they made a point of is, you know, they said that there may be times where you don't have your iPhone with you or you don't want to bring your iPhone with you. And, the watch was always dependent on the phone for certain capabilities. But now that they threw that GPS in there, that really opens up the world to a lot of different things. I mean, it already had the sensors built into it, so you could do a lot of the sports stuff anyway. But now you can actually do your geography. You can work with maps. It will track your runs. It will do all of this stuff, which is really, really cool. I mean, basically, it'll do everything that the Fitbits and some of those other things do and a million things more.
And it'll do it better.
You know, some of the physical redesign, in addition to the gaskets and the adhesives they said that they used to create that water resistance, they also redesigned the speaker. So, you know, and it was really cool. I mean, because you don't really think necessarily about the engineering that goes in behind a speaker, right? But the way a speaker works is it uses air space to create its sound. But when if you had it sealed completely, the speaker would be ineffective. It wouldn't work. It basically would turn into a buzzer, you know, like a piezo buzzer or something like that. But there has to be this airspace. So they actually redesigned the speaker so it fits up against the side of the housing. It's completely sealed. And the speaker will basically create a vibration that will expel water out of the hole, out of the speaker hole, and prevent it from seeping into the rest of the device. I mean, that's genius. I mean, you know, you would think something so simple, right? But that really is genius.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that Apple does, you know, and you know, like we say all about, you know, we say this a lot of times with the cameras, and we always say, you know, what the hell happened to the innovation?
Yeah.
It's all this just crappy, you know, this iterative stuff, you know, where they just iterate on what they have. Apple is more of a company that, you know, looks at problems and how to solve them and not necessarily goes down the exact same line or order that they've solved the same problem in the past.
Right.
They break free of that and they try figuring out how else to do it.
That's right.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit regarding the iPhone 7 and the things that they did there, which is that innovation type thing. So, but yeah, it looks very good as far as the price. Series 1, the old one, dropped down like $100. It's like $269.
Yep.
The new one that just came out is $369 is where it starts at. Right. If you want ceramic, you can probably pay $10 million if you want ceramic.
Yeah, they've got this new white ceramic material now, which is pretty. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. What is it? 7 times harder than stainless steel or something craziness like that. But regardless, what I did find interesting was Nike is on board. Yes. So what that means, guys, is the watch now will be branded with Nike stuff, like Nike logos, Nike things.
The Nike edition,
Yeah, the Nike edition. And they're going to have it for the exact same price as the regular edition. But
which, you know what, bro, that surprised me because when we were watching this thing, I even said, that maybe they're going to try and do it at a lower price, because
now I thought, Trevor, they were going to do it as a higher price because listen, guys, they added in basically an app.
Yep.
So you're getting the branding of the watch, which is cool and it looks neat.
Yeah, it's real sporty looking,
Nike bands, all this stuff, really sporty. But the app in it is really, really freaking cool.
Yeah.
You can start your runs by just saying, Siri start run or just, craziness like this where they have that built-in app. So I would have said, let's go ahead instead of $369, let's make it $399, and then you get the app. Or you can still download that Nike app, let's say for $30. Let's just call it $30 and use it on the regular version. But this just already comes installed and you get all the niceties that Nike provides with the band and all of the logos and all that stuff. So, but that was very interesting. I thought that was very cool. And for me, like, as a runner, I would probably go, if I was to get an Apple Watch tomorrow, I would probably look into the Nike branded version just because I think it looks, pretty cool.
It's nice. It's sporty. I mean, and you know what? Honestly, I'm at the point now where I may consider this because I'm a swimmer. I mean, that's my thing. I don't run. I know you run. I can't run. I don't run. Yeah. I run when being chased, but but I do enjoy swimming. And now knowing that I could have a watch that I could wear swimming that is water resistant, that will expel the water out of that speaker because that's hugely important.
Listen to your music, get split times, get lap times, get workouts and all kinds of stuff. So also, Trev, Pokemon Go, right?
God.
They had this little thing where you can actually do Pokemon Go now on your Apple Watch, your Series 2 Apple Watch. And the whole entire ad spot, let's call it, intro, was really poor in my personal opinion. It was really not done well at all. No. They had the Pokemon Go guys there and all of this stuff, but it was lackluster at best. But still, nonetheless, you can still do Pokemon Go on your watch and you don't have to, use your phone. I can see Pokemon Go being the perfect game for like a virtual reality type of setup. So you imagine like a Samsung, right? And you put on the goggles and now you're in VR. You have this augmented reality and you can actually see the Pokemon as far away as they are. You can see people walking into traffic dead and stuff from it, but still it would be cool, right? Because it's the perfect game for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is cool. Whatever. I mean, I don't play Pokemon Go, and I've really, honestly, I have no interest in doing so. For me, I could care less. I think it was just a humorous novelty that they even thought about adding it to it. But there are some people out there who are very, very serious about their Pokemon Go. And I'm sure that they will go out and easily dump that $369 to have it on their wrist as opposed to having to hold their phone up in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. So anyways, guys, listen, we have the iPhone 7, the iPhone 7 Plus on the back side of the break. So hang in there. We'll be right back. The 3-in-1 photo reference tool featuring the revolutionary dual access color control is a versatile all-in-one color reference accessory designed to help photographer and videographer dial in white balance, exposure, and color temperature. The PRT features a large gray card with center target, making autofocus lockup easy while providing fast temperature neutralization in camera or in post-production. A 12-step exposure gradient helps produce perfect tonal reproduction, balancing highlights with deep, rich blacks. Most photographers color balance by eye, using the temperature slider to warm or cool an image. This method delivers inconsistent and inaccurate results.
The backside of the PRT features our dual-access color control system, which addresses this problem. With a single click, this system will automatically adjust color temperature and apply color tint to produce optimal and repeatable results for beautiful photos every time. From in-camera to post-production, the 3-in-1 photo reference tool helps push your creativity to the next level, providing complete color control over all your imaging creations. Grab one from your local or online camera dealer or visit our website at jcristina.com.
All right, so we are back, and the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus were announced as anticipated. Some of the rumors that were out there were pretty accurate. I know we've talked about some of the rumors on past shows, and we were pretty close. The phone is nice. Both phones are very nice. I think they're nice improvements. They've got definitely a more refined design. It's sleeker, it's smoother. The glass really blends into the casing a lot nicer. Now you have a choice of black or black, in addition to the silver, gold, and rose gold.
That was the most ridiculous thing when they said that. I'm like, what the frick are they talking about? Yeah, so you have your rose gold, your regular looks and stuff, and then all of a sudden they say, and you have black, and then you have jet black.
Yeah.
And then they went into this whole big process on this jet black, on how they do it and how refined it is, and how the black is actually like part of the aluminum. And
it's all anodized, and
it's just, I'm like, oh my God, they really did it, So, So anyways, guys, you can get black and you can get jet black.
Basically,
I like that matte black. I think that looks awesome,
exactly. One black is matte and the other one is high gloss.
It's not even high gloss. It looks like a mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so crazy gloss.
I mean, that's just begging to look like a jacked up mess with fingerprints. I honestly, I have no interest in that. And most people put cases on it anyway. So, I mean, for me, the color is whatever. I'll take whatever color you're going to.
Yeah, in the morning when you got your bagel and schmear, you go and you're eating your bagel and you're looking at that high gloss phone. It's just cooked. You can't even get that grease off it. So, anyways, I guess before we get into the camera and the photography stuff, the I would say the bones behind it is they have the new A10. It was the A8, A9. Now we're in an A10. Right. They call it the Fusion, which is cool. It's 64-bit, 4-core. It's a beast. Everything doubled. So, from from the A10 to A9, you have double the speed. From the A10 to the A8, you got double once again. So 4 times the speed. So it is fast, guys.
And what's nice about this 4-core processor is that 2 of the cores are for high performance functions, let's say, and the other 2 cores are for efficiency. Right. And then through software, based on what apps you're running, what functions you're doing, it will determine which cores get used for the most efficient use of the power, the processing power, and battery life.
So if any of you guys are into techie stuff and geeky stuff, it's the equivalent of load balancing, right? So you have, a ton of data coming down the stream into a router, and the router now is going into a load balancer, and it load balances where it needs to send the data. Right. So this is saying, okay, well, right now they're not doing a lot of, let's say, GPU intensive crunching or anything. So let's go ahead and use, those highly efficient cores so that we save juice, that type of thing. So I think it's very, very cool. The new GPU is a 6-core GPU, which is once again double the speed from the A10 to the the A9, and quadruple the speed from the A10 to the A8. So very, very interesting. They really spent a lot of time at making the bones, the backbone of this phone, really powerful, almost computer-esque, 64-bit 4-core GPU, and this load balancing, as I call it, and all this other stuff. And it's really, really interesting. The home button now is a 3D touch, so it's touch sensitive, which is really cool, right, Trev?
Yeah, that's real nice. And even the screen they're saying is 25% brighter. Now, I mean, I know personally, after being down at the beach over the summer and stuff like that, and I've tried to check email and whatever, and under my normal setting, it just obviously doesn't work. I got to pump the brightness way up, and they're saying that with this brighter screen now, you can see a lot easier in bright light, and they are saying that it is more efficient, but they keep saying wide color gamut. I mean, that was a theme throughout this entire thing, and we'll address that in each different section. But they're really pushing this wider color spectrum.
Yeah, and like you're saying, the beach, right? How many times you have the phone at the beach, you want to take pictures of your kids, but you don't really want to get near the water as you're like, oh, God. Or let's say you're by the pool or something. You don't want to get too close. You're taking the pictures. Because, you drop the iPhone in and now it's cooked. You put it into a bag of rice, and say a prayer and hope that the thing comes back. If not, it's gone. Well, now this new iPhone is IP67 standard, let's say standard protection, which is basically saying that you have the ability to flush it on the toilet, or drop it into some water, pull it out of the toilet and dry it off, and you're still okay. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be swimming with the phone, but what that, that IP67 says, it has the gaskets that are needed to be able to keep water out for a short burst, a short period of time.
That's right.
Without ruining the inside. And one of the methods on how they got there, right, Trev, was by removing the audio in. There goes our earphones, their history.
Yeah, that's right. The standard analog audio jack that worked both your microphone and your earbuds is gone. They opted to remove it for sealing it up, one less hole for water to leak into. The analog jack itself takes up a lot of real estate inside when you're talking about this small capacity. And now you get your audio, both mic and earbuds, through the Lightning connector, which is actually very interesting. I mean, that Lightning port was designed initially for data communication, not just powering.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why
the audio is actually better.
The audio is better, absolutely.
A wider spectrum, extremely fast. Obviously, everyone knows how fast Lightning is. It benefits in multiple ways. That 3.5 inch or 3.5 millimeter jack port. That big gaping hole is gone. So once again, better water resistance. But the point that you're using now, here comes another thing. We're back to selling dongles, guys, right?
Yeah.
Every time they do something, there's a dongle for that. Like Trevor, you're the guy that always says that. There's a plug-in for that, right? We're impressed. Well, with Apple, there's a dongle for that. There's a dongle.
There's an adapter for everything.
So once again, you can get an adapter, right?
Yeah. Luckily, the new phone comes with the adapter. So if you have some standard analog headphones that you've bought that you absolutely love with your phone, have no fear, there is a 3.5 millimeter jack to Lightning connector included in the box. But that
jack does not have power. So if you want to do that, yes, but your phone will slowly die.
Right.
It's not like before where you can actually plug the phone in and charge it and listen through your headphones. You're not going to do that anymore unless they come out with another dongle that now wires off and allows you to do power as well as audio at the same time. So once again, dongle, right?
Well, it's like removing all of the ports from the new MacBooks, right? In favor of the USB-C connector. So you do power and all of your peripherals through one port. I think there's going to be some pushback for this, just like you said, with power and headphones at the same time. But I think, as with anything, there will be adoption. And again, it's Apple's world, right? Yeah. We want to live in it. We got to play by their rules.
Yep, and now your little earpieces that are now wireless, they have a W1 chipset in it. These little wireless earbuds, they're called, what would they be called? AirPods. So now you have AirPods. And what happened also, which is kind of interesting, is now we have also Solo 3s that are going to be coming out from Beats at the exact same time. So if you don't want to use Apple's earbuds, you can go grab a full set of, Solo 3s and be able to use those immediately with this new, and they will have that W1 chipset built into it. And according to what they're saying, it's extremely low powered. So, and you get, I think it's like 5 hours of battery life with these little,
with those little wireless headphones. Yeah, they're me personally, I don't think I would use them. They're just begging to get lost. I mean, they're tiny little earbuds that fit in your ear, and they have a little plastic stem that kind of comes down the side, like a traditional earbud would, but without the wire. It just stops. They're not connected. The left and the right earbud is not connected to each other in any way physically, like with a wire and a volume control or something. They are all individual. But they come with this little charging box that you plug your earbuds into the box, and it charges the earbuds up. And then when that battery, because the box has a built-in battery, when that battery runs low, you plug that in, and then that charges the box back up again.
It's like a little chiclet box is what it looks like.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
In there.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but for $159, these are not included in the box with the phone. These are a separate purchase, and for $159, I don't know. I don't think it's really something that I care
They will
about.
sell millions of these.
They will. Absolutely they will.
So, but that's what Apple, and that's what they do. That's what they do best, They really do it well. So, anyways, moving into what you guys want to hear about, and of course that is the camera, camera. Or the cameras. Plural when it comes to the Plus. So the iPhone 7 now has a 12 megapixel, not the Plus, but the iPhone 7 has a 12 megapixel camera, which is a 1.8 aperture. So it's extremely wide. It does really well in low light. A 6-element lens, so you get some great bokeh in the back, so you get that beautiful blur without that stutter-steppy type of look. Also, it still has that beautiful crystal on there, right? What they call the sapphire crystal. And once again, wide color gamut. Over and over and over, Trev. Wide color gamut. Now, if you guys know what this is, wide color gamut is basically sRGB has a certain gamut. Let's say this is the amount of color that you see. A wide color gamut, for example, like Pro RGB, is about this big. The problem with that is, guys, you can see it visually on the phone, on these HD phones, and it looks unbelievable. But it does not print. So very few printers out there will actually print in this wide gamut. So just because you take a picture that looks absolutely unbelievable, super saturated, that looks beautiful, when you print it, you're not going to get that same type of color out of it. You're going to have to convert it back to sRGB before you print. So it's kind of interesting, but this was the big story when it comes to photo. Over and over and over, wide color gamut. And I know it's going to look absolutely unbelievable, don't you think?
Oh yeah, digitally these images are going to look amazing. I mean, you throw them up on your computer screen, and if you've got a 4K monitor, I mean, these high resolution images, I mean, they're going to look gorgeous. They're going to look amazing on the phone, and when you share them on social networks, it's going to look fantastic. From a print standpoint, I mean, again, I mean, you're going to have your limitations there, but I think the print will look better just because you've got that, that extra data up front, and it will just discard whatever it doesn't need. But yeah, I mean, this is amazing. And then the iPhone 7 Plus actually has 2 cameras on the back side.
So 2 12 megapixel cameras instead of 1.
So this was the rumored thing, that it was going to have 2 cameras, and so this is kind of a given. I don't think this comes as a big surprise. What's interesting though is one of the cameras actually uses a wide angle lens with a 1.8 aperture, and the other camera is a telephoto lens with a 2.8 aperture. So as you're looking through the photo app in the back of the camera and you're pointing at your subject, you've got a new digital button on the screen that you can hit. So for 1 times, it uses your wide angle 1.8 lens. And if you go 2 times, it actually switches over to the other camera, uses the 2 times magnified lens, the telephoto lens at the 2.8 aperture. And it basically is seamless. Like, you can't see the difference on the screen.
Yeah.
And what it does now too is it it goes up to 2 times optical zoom. And beyond that is all digital. But rather than stopping at 5 times digital zoom like currently, it actually now goes up to 10 times. And they've put some magic secret sauce into the software to help get a better looking image.
So my understanding is 28 millimeters as far as your wide, 56 millimeters as far as your telephoto, and just think about it. If you're zooming in, you're pinching in, trying to get a little bit closer, and it switches over to your telephoto lens, you're going to be able to go double as far and not have to sacrifice the image quality at all. Now, one thing that was really big to me also is they were saying that you have the ability also to use raw DNG images instead of just your JPEGs, and now go and edit those instead of the JPEGs. That is massive. I don't know what kind of data they're going to give us. I doubt it's going to be as much as a Nikon or a Canon raw image, but I'm sure it's going to be enough to be able to do a little pushing and pulling of all this gamut data that it has, also exposure and whatnot, and do a really good job of it.
I think it'll do a good job for what it is. I mean, again, we're talking about a tiny, tiny little sensor, so it's only going to be able to capture just so much data as compared to like a full frame sensor. But still, to have that flexibility to be able to manipulate that data later is awesome. I mean, why not?
Yeah, and as photographers, we're always looking for that beautiful milkiness in the background, right? We're looking for, extremely fast glass, and it makes portrait look beautiful. Portraits just are amazing, right? And they came up with a system that's called Portrait. You put it on Portrait, and what it will do is it'll use the two, the two lenses, the two cameras, to figure out the distance of the main subject. Then take that main subject and everything behind the main subject blur, and basically come up with a fake bokeh type of look. And it really, according to what I see at least, it does a really good job of it. I mean, the pictures really look like it came out of an extremely high-end camera and not out of an iPhone. So that was that was something that they were able to do with the two cameras. That is just a neat thing. That's all they had to do is software work. The hardware is already there, but once again, Apple figures out, okay, we have this now. How do we squeeze every little bit out of it? And that's what they do. They're constantly squeezing. That moves into video. This is a 4K. It's a 4K camera. It's only capturing 30 frames per second, but that's what the 5D Mark IV is doing. I don't know why, but that's another story. But it's 4K and 1080p. It will allow you to go up to 120 frames slow-mo. So it will capture at 30 frames, it'll capture at 60 frames, but it'll also do slow-mo at 120. And at 720p, it will allow you to go all the way up to 240 frames per second. Extreme slow-mo. That's freaking awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, optical image stabilization is built in for video as well as the still images, so that's fantastic. Utilizing your zooms just like before. You've got your optical zooms, your 2 times optical zoom for video, that will still work, and your digital zoom, which is great. What I like too is the front-facing camera. They bumped that up. Now, a lot of people will be like, front-facing camera, what are you really practical usage? But, I'm recording this show with my iPhone right now. I'm using the front-facing camera, and I'm staring at my grill in the screen, so I know that I'm framed well and stuff. And I'm utilizing this, crappy little front-facing 720p camera on my iPhone 5. So for me, a 7-megapixel front-facing camera with the type of quality that we're able to get now at full 1080p HD, not just 720, is definitely appealing to me. I know this is a unique circumstance, and probably a lot of people aren't doing what I'm doing with their phone, but for me, I find that appealing. I mean, what that does, though, is it just means your FaceTime videos are going to be better, your selfies are going to be better, you know, all of that, all of the goofy stuff that we do with our front-facing cameras.
And selfies are the most important thing that we do with our cameras,
That's right.
So, So, and it's going to be at a aperture of, I think it's 2.2, that front-facing camera, which is good. That's pretty fast. That means it's going to do a lot better in low light than the past phones did. So we'll see. I definitely want to take a look at that. I think that's very, very cool. I mean, all in all, there's a lot of good stuff that's happening here. And as far as the price, as far as the price go, the 7 by itself, just the iPhone 7 itself starts out at $649, whereas the Plus is, I think it's $769.
Right.
You're looking at about $120 difference. But for me, Trevor, I love this iPhone 7 Plus. The problem with that is I just can't justify having something the size of, just an iPad mini hanging on my side.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I'm more, I'm moving all the time. I'm more like aerobic, let's call it, having this thing, it won't fit into my pocket. It's just too huge. I mean,
from a fashion standpoint, we don't want to walk around with a man bag attached to our belt, and I mean, it looks better, to not have anything, be able to just slip the phone into your front pocket. It's a lot more discreet. I mean, the features of the Plus I think it's worth it. I mean, I think it would be worth, if you're going to buy one, I think it would be worth it to pay the little bit of extra and get the 7 Plus just because of the additional features with the camera.
Yeah, especially as a photographer.
Size is just too big for me,
Yeah, as a photographer, if you can get through the size and you can get over the size, and the size, doesn't matter. Let's just say.
That's right. We'll just say it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll just say. But at that point, I would say, getting those two cameras, I think that's just cool. And there's a lot, and all of the functionality that you get with having those two cameras. Because I guarantee you, there's a lot of back end stuff that's happening by having those two cameras there, even when you're not using both of them. I'm sure they're using a lot of that data, like I said, for referencing and referencing distance and a lot of other things that are going on. It's just cool. And I'm sure as time goes by, we're going to end up, this will be the norm. Maybe there'll be 4 cameras eventually, and you'll be able to turn it sideways and have a stereoscopic type of view and actually have almost two eyes looking at something.
I agree.
There's a lot of things that I can see them doing as this progressives.
One feature one feature you said, talk about turning it to the side. One feature that they added, which I have been waiting for a long time, is a top-mounted speaker.
Right.
So now when you have your phone in landscape position, you have a speaker on each side of the screen. So it gives you more of that stereo effect rather than, I know whenever I watch something, I have my hand cupped across the bottom of the phone so it directs the sound towards my head. And it's a little awkward and it's not a great experience. And now they finally have a speaker at the other end of the phone.
Yeah.
Very nice. You know what, guys? If you're interested in this, I would consider the upgrade program that they offer. So for $32 a month, you pay for the phone through the upgrade program. You pay your normal, AT&T, Verizon bill, whatever that is going to be for your data, your usage, all that. But you're basically renting the phone, let's say, for $32 a month. And then you can upgrade your phone after a year. And that includes the Apple Care Plus. So basically, you can jack that thing up. They'll just replace it. So I don't know. I think that's worth it. If you have the extra money burning a hole in your pocket and you really want the latest tech, I think that is the way to go.
Go grab one, guys.
That's right.
All right, man. We got to get out.
Yes, we do. Long show, but a lot to cover. So if our viewers and listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, and that's @JosephChristina. And don't forget to follow me or follow my channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/JChristinaPhoto.
That's right. And you can connect with me on Twitter. It's @TrevorCurrent.
So, all right, guys, we are out of here for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode and past episodes over at digitalphotographycafe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/DPhotoCafe. And we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe Show with Trevor Curran and Joseph Cristina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.